And let's go right into week number 9. Excuse me. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Actually, are we skipping that one? No, we're not. So let's start with the Thursday night game. And these Thursday night games are not as bad as I figured that they were really bad a couple years ago. Houston Texans at New York Jets. Speaking of bad, for some reason the Jets are favored by 2 points. 42.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm taking Houston. I know they lost Diggs, and I know the offense still has some work to do. But like we talked about, I think the Jets are dysfunctional. I think they're heading the wrong direction. And Houston, if they're going to fix things, it needs to start now. They need to. I think they're the best team in that division. They need to start playing like it, and I think it needs to start here this week.
It's kind of sad that the Thursday night game can't be flexed, because I think NFL, when they did the schedule, whatever algorithm they used, they were like, they're gonna make sure that the New York Jets got enough primetime game.
No, they're expecting the Jets to be good.
And boy, were they wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm also taking Texans. They're not hitting on all cylinders, but they're better than Jets. Sunday's matchup: Cowboys at Falcons. Falcons are favored by 3 points. Over and under 51.5. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, it's a tough one. But again, I went with my gut here. I think Cowboys, again, not having a running game. Atlanta playing at home. They're going to make enough plays on offense. The question is going to be Atlanta's defense. I think to a certain extent they've underperformed this season. They need to play better. They need to force Dak into a couple turnovers. I think they'll do that. And I think Atlanta will win, but I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, I got Atlanta winning too. These are both bad defenses, but Cowboys defense is much, much worse. And like you mentioned, they don't have a running game. So what are you going to do? Just pass the whole game?
Yeah.
That's what they're Is Rico back now? I don't know. It doesn't really matter because they're not using them properly. So it's going to be 8. The next game, Raiders at Bengals. Bengals are favored by 8 points. 44.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, give me the Bengals. Offensively, they have been fine. That's not the issue at all. It's been their defense. But the Raiders just don't have enough at all to compete with a lot of the teams in the NFL. So Cincinnati should win this easily.
Yeah, I got Cincy winning as well. This is a home game. I like the Raiders' defense, believe it or not, but I just don't think their offense is any good at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. I like the defense though, but let's see. Okay. Next game is Chargers at Browns. The Chargers are favored by 2 points. 41.5 is over and under. Ron, who'd you go with?
Yeah, another tough game here. I went with Cleveland. I like Jameis Winston. I think he's going to make some plays. Should have been starting the entire season. Chubb is back. He's slowly getting healthy, and just used to, being on the field and stuff like that. So I think he'll play well. And honestly, the Chargers offensively, they don't scare me. They're missing receivers. They need some more help offensively. So I think Cleveland will have enough. I know Ward is out. I think he had another concussion, which is like his 6th concussion. He's a big part of their defense in the secondary, but I'll still go with Cleveland here.
Yeah, I went back and forth with this game because I like the Chargers defense. Their offense it's not scoring as much. I don't remember if that happened when John Harbaugh was at San Francisco. No, sorry, excuse me, Jim Harbaugh. But I went with the Browns. Jameis Winston. I think he's gonna have some picks on this game.
Jameis?
Yes, Jameis. Sorry, but I still like the Cleveland to win the game. Colts at Vikings. Vikings are favored by 6. Over and under is 46.5. Ron, who'd you pick?
Yeah, I mentioned I have some upsets this week, right? I'm going with my gut. My gut tells me Flacco's a better quarterback than Richardson. And my gut tells me that he's going to find a way to get in the Colts to play to their potential and create a spark offensively. And Minnesota's not, I don't want to say they're reeling just yet, but I think they'll be a little shell shocked in this game, and Colts are going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on this one, but I actually, when I looked at the coaches, I liked the Minnesota coach more than Colts coach, even though he made a decision to sit down. This would be their 3rd loss in a row, and I don't think that they're that kind of team. I think that they'll bounce back, especially at home. So give me Minnesota. Next game, Commanders at Giants. Washington is favored by 3.5. 42.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going Washington in this game. Listen, the Giants, they don't play well at home. And Washington is just better offensively at this point, right? Daniels is the real deal. I think Washington is going to win this one pretty easily.
I also got Washington, but let's talk about the Hail Mary pass. Let's talk about the fact that the Bears were shut out in the first half. Then halfway through the third quarter, they started playing better. There was a couple of dumb football decisions there by Bears. But on the final play, did you think there was a chance that he was going to hit the Hail Mary?
Yeah. The way it was playing out, like he was able to run around, buy some time, gave the guys a chance to get downfield. I knew he had the arm for sure. I thought there was a chance. And, shame on Chicago, man. Like, that is unforgivable. I don't know if you saw the video, that one guy just like talking in the middle of the play to like the sideline, to the folks in the stands. And he was the one who was supposed to be boxing that player out, and he didn't.
Oh yeah, I was reading about it. It was a rookie, Stevenson, I think is the last name. He was taunting the Washington Commanders crowd.
Yeah.
Wow. Not only was he taunting them on the final Hail Mary, but the play before, they had like a short 15-yard gain out of bounds. He was taunting. He wasn't even covering people. He was still taunting.
This is why I can't be coach, because had I been coach and that happened, like I would have just cut him like right as soon as he landed back in Chicago. I'll just say, that's it. I'm cutting you. Because
I had to look it up.
Send a message to the team that, listen, we're not like the old Chicago Bears. We're not putting up with that foolishness. Like, we're not playing well to our potential on either side of the ball. And that right there is unacceptable. Like, to make an idiotic play, just be selfish is unacceptable. And I think they should have just cut him right then and there to send a message to the rest of the team. Like, that will not, you can play hard and make mistakes and grow, but just to have that sort of brain lapse is just not about winning football. That's just, that's losing mentality right there. And those are the players you don't want on your team.
A moment like that, you have to be able to chuck it as far as you did.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ron. Are you concerned about William?
No, not at all. Listen, he didn't play well at all. I didn't think Daniels played equally bad to me outside of his runs that he had.
Well, he had 328 yards.
Yeah, but take away the Hail Mary, look at his completion percentage, right? Factor in that he had a running game. Caleb did not have a running game to go along with what he's doing. I don't think Caleb played that much worse.
Wait, DeAndre Swift had 129 yards.
Did he have that much?
Yes.
It felt like he didn't do jack.
I mean, they outrushed the Commanders.
Let me pull up the stats.
196 to 168.
Yeah.
So there was a running game. He was averaging 7.2 yards a carry.
I mean, I wasn't impressed by either quarterback in this game, to be honest. And I'll admit, like, Daniels has outplayed Williams the entire season. I just don't think this was his best game at all. Like, 21 of 38. Yeah, you got 326, but 21 of 38. Is that the standard now? Like close to 50%, 55%, whatever that is. You gotta. I think you gotta be a little bit more accurate than that. But you can't take away what he did with his legs. 8 for 52. That's just outstanding. So that's the part that Caleb doesn't quite have. Yeah, he can run the ball a little bit and scramble. That's not his. He's more like a Mahomes scrambler than a Lamar or Jaden scrambler. He's not gonna make those deep runs down the field, stuff like that. So
I just haven't seen him like go deep. I haven't seen a highlight of Williams going deep at all, and he has pretty good receivers, but he doesn't go deep. I don't know.
At some point, I remember DJ Moore got hurt at some point. I don't know what in the game that was. But like I said, I mean, he didn't play well. Caleb didn't play well. There's no other way of putting it. He has to play better. But, it's still his rookie year. They are still 4-3, right? 4 wins. Should be 5-3 if it wasn't for that Hail Mary and stupid play by their defensive back. I don't think, when you look back in the season, I think it's something to build on. I don't think they should be overly concerned with Williams' performance.
Well, they should have gotten as many victories now because their schedule gets super duper hard. Because they still haven't played any of the division games. And then they play the 49ers and the Seahawks at the end of the season. We don't know what kind of Seahawks go up. This is where things go sideways. They realize that Eberflus is not the coach that he thinks. So I do see him maybe, and we'll talk when we do our coaches list. And, I don't know, do you think he's in the hot seat?
No, not at all. First year with his quarterback? No, not at all. Right now they're in the playoff hunt, so not yet.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at my list real quick. Yeah, I definitely have him on the hots. And we'll get to it eventually. Ron, the next game, Saints at Panthers. This is the poo game. But I think Carr should be back for this week, right?
I have no idea.
7 points is the New Orleans spread. 44.5 is the over and under. Ron, who'd you go with?
I went with Carolina. But that's with me assuming Carr wasn't playing. I still think Carolina, listen, they got Bryce Young playing now. there's a lot that needs to improve with that Carolina team. They just traded Deontay too on top of it. But New Orleans has been awful, like awful. If Carr plays, I want to change it. If Carr plays, even New Orleans to win. If not, I want to take Carolina. That's just a gut.
Yeah, from everything I'm reading is that Carr is gonna play for this game. It's activated.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they'll be, if he plays, they're gonna score more points. And not for nothing, but Bryce Young hasn't made a leap to the point where you're like, oh, he's actually pretty good quarterback.
No, but I thought he played in a little bit that I watched. I thought he was better than what he had shown, which, again, is probably not saying that much, but that's what you have to hope for, is just some improvement from time to time, right? So he just needs to keep building on each week and just get better.
Yeah, I'm not putting my hat on Bryce Young yet. There's some flashes, like really, really tiny flashes, but they do need to like bulk up, maybe add like 20 pounds. The next game, the Bears at Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 1 point. 44.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's the prediction?
Yeah, I went with the Cardinals, and it's not so much of lack of faith in Chicago, although I will admit it's waning a little bit. It's more so that, like, the Cardinals are pretty damn good. Their coach is good. Kyler Murray obviously is good. Harrison Jr. is good. They're a much better team, I think, than we gave them credit at the beginning of the season. We probably only gave them like 4 or 5 wins, if I remember correctly. Maybe 5 or 6, but here they are sitting in first place. Yeah, they're 4-4, but they can win that division potentially. They still got to fend off Seattle and San Francisco, but give me the Cardinals to win this one.
I went back and forth with this one. I don't know what Cardinals team is going to show up. So I went with Chicago, but because I really, really like Chicago's defense, I think they held Daniels in check for most of the game. I know Daniels wasn't 100%, but they did pretty good as far as holding him in check. And I mean, if you can contain Kyler Murray, I don't think that they're that good. If you let Kyler Murray just get out of the pocket, then you're gonna pay the price. So it just depends what kind of defense shows up, and I like the Bears defense, not so much their offense, but I do like the defense, so I took this one. Next game, Lions at Packers. Detroit is favored by 3.5. 47.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I went with Green Bay because the fact that game is in Green Bay. I think Green Bay is a good team. I think Detroit's a great team too. But I got Green Bay pulling off the win here.
This is the other thing. Like if I look at the coaches, I think they might be about even. I look at the quarterbacks. I like Goff better. Love is not. It's not the love from last year. He's not there yet. I don't know if he's kind of like not 100% or he's holding back. I don't know what it is, but that's why I like Detroit to win this one. I think they just have a better offense, even though isn't one of the receivers like suspended?
Detroit, yeah, Wade Williams, that dude has been a headache, man. Yeah, suspended for, what is it this time? I think it was performance-enhancing drugs this time around, but he also has...
gun charge or something?
Yeah, so there weren't any charges. He had several guns apparently in his car, and for whatever reason, they didn't arrest him. So they're investigating why they didn't arrest him. But that dude has been a headache, to say the least. Unfortunately, so much talent. He's one of the players I was hoping the Steelers would trade for, but looking at it now, it's like that guy is going to be out the league pretty soon. So I'm glad we didn't trade for that guy.
Even with him not in the game, Amon Brown, or St. Rod, what's his name now?
Armand St. Brown.
Thank you. Yes. I think if you've still got him on the team, you're going to. The next game, Rams at Seahawks. Rams are favored by 1 point. 47.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, so I talked a lot earlier about the Rams and how, listen, they can score points. I think Seattle needs a bounce back game here. They got to start playing better. They need a win. I'm just going Seattle. It's just got, especially since this game, Seattle, that's a huge home field advantage. I think that's one of the toughest stadiums to play in. They got to win that one. I think they will.
The Seahawks have lost 4 out of 5 games. I think we can say that they're reeling. I'm just not confident in Geno Smith as it used to be. And to lose to the Giants, they're not really, a great team. They make a lot of errors. And then, yes, you beat the Falcons. I don't know. It's, to me, I picked the Rams to win this one. And I think Metcalf is still out, right?
Yeah, he might be back, though, this week. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that Mike Macdonald would give them like that first year coach boost a la Dan Quinn in Washington, but it's not happening, or maybe it already happened and now teams are catching up like, oh, this defense is not as stout as we thought that it would be. So give me the Rams to win this one. Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Philly's favored by 7.5. 45.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Told you again, I had a lot of upsets this week, so this is another one. Big point spread. I don't care. I'm taking Jacksonville to win this one. I know Philly's 5-2 at this point. 5-3. I don't know what their record is, but I'm not a believer in Sirianni. I don't trust him. I don't trust Jacksonville's coach either, but I think Jacksonville at least looked pretty decent last week. I think they're just going to pull off an upset here. Primetime game. I think Lawrence is going to show up, and I think we're going to see an upset. That's just my gut.
I've been picking against Philadelphia because I don't like Sirianni. I don't like how the defense is shaping out to be. But they've already won 3 games in a row. They're 5-2. They beat 2 pretty good offenses. Well, one, I guess, with the Bengals. The Giants are terrible at home, but I'm starting to believe in this Eagles team. I know the Sirianni is like self-sabotage, but I think Jalen Hurts is actually coming to his own. He has weapons now, and it's still, to me, maybe Derrick Henry, but Saquon Barkley is still the best running back available. Like, who would you pick as if you had to choose one running back?
Healthy?
Yes.
McCaffrey.
Right now, with what you have.
So, healthy right now in the entire league. It's probably either Barkley or Gibbs, maybe. Montgomery, the two of those guys together. But yeah, Barkley, good running back, but
Yeah, it's a good running back. And if I'm looking at his stats right now, he has 786 yards rushing. He's averaging 6 yards a rush. It's like, you should be using him more. I don't understand what Nick Sirianni is doing or what the offense coordinator. Oh, Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator. So I just want to see more. And I think that they finally figured out that, hey, we have an actual players to make this defense go. I don't know. I needless to say, I got the Philly winning over the Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is reeling. Pretty soon we're gonna see trades happening out of Jacksonville. I think there's one already happening, right? Isn't the Vikings interested in a left guard for Jacksonville?
The tackle, I think it was, that they sent over.
Yeah, so, it's already happening. They're already waving the white flag. So I can see the Phillies just rolling. Okay, Monday night. One game run. The Bucks at the Chiefs. The KC's favored by 8.5 points. 45.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going with Kansas City. Tampa Bay has too many injuries. I doubt Evans plays. Godwin's already out for the year, right? I think it's the season that he's out for. So give me KC.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but KC is going to win this one. And I was thinking about like who are possible teams that KC can lose the rest of the year. And I only came up with two. Buffalo and the Steelers. So they could be 16-2 and have the number one seed and have a bye week. And just saying that out loud, terrifying. Because why would you want to give this guy's rest? Andy Reid, this defense was a pretty good defense. I think the Bucks, they're gonna still chuck it. I think Mayfield's still gonna get his yards, but give me KC to win this one. I'm not sure if they win by the spread by 8.5, but they're gonna definitely. All right, Ron. Week number 9. Pittsburgh is off. They got a bye week. But we got New England at Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 3 points. 37.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah. So again, I'm assuming Drake May plays here. I kind of touched on it earlier. I'm looking at an offensive performance by the Patriots, with them scoring 30 points, right? And May being accounting for at least 3 of the touchdowns. So give me the Patriots 30-16. Tennessee's defense has been terrible. I know if you look at certain numbers, they might look better, but they get up like 25 plus points like the last 4 or 5 games or something. They do not play well on defense. I think Patriots, if May plays, will score a lot.
Yeah, I went into this game already thinking that Drake May is not going to play because I guess from what I was reading is that he wanted to come back into the game. Mm-hmm. And it was like the third party neurologist who's like, no, you're not going back. So that kind of, I suspected that whoever the third party neurologist is going to be like, no, you got to enter concussion protocol. I'm hoping that he doesn't, but I got the New England winning 21-14. I think Brissett keeps it close because he's not going to wow you with points, right? It's just going to be like who has the least amount of mistakes. It's going to win. And, as the week went on and Tuesday, Mayo had to walk back the whole this team is soft. He had to walk it back. But he already said what he said. When they asked players, hey, your coach called you soft, a lot of the players didn't take offense to it. They were like,
why would any player take offense to that?
well, we heard Max Crosby take offense to it. But these players,
Max Crosby said it's insulting. Yes, I understand what he's saying.
and he said, what did he say? He said those are fighting words.
Fighting as you better get your behind out there and play hard.
No, we all know that's not what he meant.
No, I don't.
And I know Max Crosby is not exactly like the same person, so you really shouldn't base anything that he says. But when he says those are fighting words, he's not talking metaphorically. He's gonna fight you. And I think
First of all, I would never call Max Crosby soft because Max Crosby is not soft. He's the complete opposite of that. But I think when players heard that, they got the message. Listen, what we put out there isn't good enough. People are making business decisions when they should be out there giving it their all. They're making way too much money to sit there and wait for somebody else to make a play. I think they listened. I think it struck a nerve with them, and they showed up last week and played better. It still wasn't perfect, but it was better. And listen, that might be the spark that they needed. And, I don't know if he may backtracked. I wouldn't have. I would have said they were soft and it's time for them to show up.
well, I guess he knew these players from when he was inside backers coach. He was like, he was liberated to say such things because he knew the players. The fact that Bill Belichick had to chime in and be like, no, these aren't soft players. It's just the way that they're being coached. Fine. You say what you say. But this is Mayo. This is this. He wants to call them soft and it works. Fine. Then next week, if they lose, he can call them soft. And then the week after that, they can win. They can go back and forth. I don't know how long he can use this stick. With this stick of these players, I'm gonna call them soft. But they won, so it worked. That's all that matters. They won and that worked. But what I'm saying is that they should win against Tennessee. It's just gonna be a low scoring game because I don't see Drake May playing it. Yeah.
Okay.
Ron, what's your upset special?
Yeah, so I went with a number of upsets, there's been a number of upsets with my choices already this week. But the one I'm looking at is the Miami-Buffalo game. Buffalo is sitting on top of the world right now. They probably feel great with what they have. They still got to figure out how to get, what's the receiver, integrated into their offense a bit. The guy from Cleveland, Cooper. Their defense has been terrible. And guess what? Miami's coming in with Tua playing, back, Tyreek Hill, all the weapons they have. I have a feeling Miami's going to pull off the upset here. I'm not saying they're going to make a run to the playoffs or anything like that, but they looked different to me offensively last week than they had all season. I think that continues, and as a matter of fact, I think it gets better. I think they put up 33 points this week. I got them winning 33-31. In the nail biter, but I got Miami winning.
I do believe that the Buffalo Bills can score points because I'm looking at their schedule and there've been some games where they score. No, there's been out of the 6 victories that they have, four of those games they scored 30 points. One game they scored 47 points. I just feel like their offense is clicking. Their running back is good. Josh Allen he's really, to be honest with you, he's having an MVP season. Mm-hmm. Yes, their defense probably needs a lot of work, but give me Buffalo this one. I picked them against the Seahawks. I picked them against Dolphins in week number 2 because I thought that they win. Dolphins win, and they had Tua, right? Week 2 they had Tua was there. I just don't like the Dolphins. my upset special, actually, I looked at it. I was actually gonna go with the other game that you mentioned earlier, the New Orleans, Carolina, but then I found out that Carr is playing, so I switched my pick, and I went with Denver at Baltimore, and I got Denver winning 21-17. And this, I have no data. I'm not going with my gut instinct. I just like Denver defense, and I think that the Baltimore defense is not that good. I mean, at least not dominant, and I think the Denver defense is at least a little bit dominant. I mean, are they right behind Kansas City in the standings? Let me just check, because I want to say that Denver is a team that people are sleeping on, right?
They are 5-3. So yeah, with 3 games behind right now. Listen, they offensively are starting to put points up now too, right? And their defense does have some decent players. Tough for me to say Baltimore's going to lose 2 games though in a row, and then lose to Denver. Does Baltimore have holes? Yes. Is Denver going to score? Yes. But Baltimore, I think, offensively, now, especially with Deontay there, I assume he's going to play. It's early that they did the trade. He'll figure out how to run some plays. I think Baltimore's going to pull that one off, but I can see where you're going with that game with the upset.
Because I don't think that their issue is the offense with Baltimore. I think that, we mentioned it in the NFL news, like, maybe they're not getting the production they want out of the receivers, but it's their defense. If their defense was better, I don't think they would be behind the Patriots Steelers in the standings.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Denver. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but that's my upset special.